Hey sluts, I'm Aubrey, an Aquarius Sun, Scorpio Moon, Taurus Rising.
And I'm Danny, a Sagittarius Sun, Leo Moon, Libra Rising.
And we're your ASTRO Sluts.
It's Campfire week, so we're going to get into all things fiery like twin flames and toxic relationships.
If you have been enjoying our podcast so far, we would really appreciate if you left a review on whatever platform you listen to. Obviously, 5 stars. Go say nice things about us.
5 stars only.
But it does really help with reaching new audiences with our podcast, so we can give you more and better content for the future.
If you want to stay up to date on all the latest, you can join our text list. Text you when there's a new episode out and when there's any fun things like an event or a new merch drop. All the things you'll need to stay in the know. Text SLUT to 833-676-2680.
You may know we have merch now. It is on our Depop shop, ASTRO SLUTS. However, you could follow us on Instagram, and maybe we'll do a little story sale sometime soon for our stickers and tanks and thongs as well.
Yeah, and anything new we've got cooking up.
Thanks for calling ASTRO SLUTS. Leave your birth time.
If you want to know how to get that guy, text their mom. We're going to need that time. We'll be your latest crush. Call us ASTRO SLUTS.
We had our first IRL meetup yesterday. It was so special.
It was so cute.
It was so cute. We had a little park party. If you're not familiar with Chicago, we had it like up north by the lake. So it was just like the perfect little outdoor Saturday.
It was the perfect day.
Oh
like,
my God, it was
great
amazing.
temperature.
Yeah, it was so sweet.
Yeah, we drank strawberry matcha lemonades, so they were pink and green, and you already know they had cute little umbrellas because Danny and I cannot half-ass anything. There will be garnish.
Yeah. We had a little pink and green tie-dye station. We had our merch there and lots of friends.
Yeah, it was so cute meeting some of you. One of you brought a puppy, so
yeah, so
always
bonus points.
But we would love to do more events in the future, and we hope to see you there.
Yeah.
Do you have any personal updates for us?
I don't think so. Just still loving life.
Yes.
Loving life, loving my boy. Yeah, things are going well. It's very fun. We're having a nice little summer fun time.
I was sad he was supposed to hang out with Danny and I last night, but
he was working.
the timing did not work out, but
it's okay. We're going on a double date this week.
we are going on a double date.
I didn't tell him. I just said it was a date.
I literally just it's really but you didn't tell him where we're going either.
I told him where we're going,
Oh,
but I
okay.
just said I got us tickets to this thing. I didn't even
Okay.
mention the whole thing.
I was saying this morning that they're upset that they haven't met. Yeah.
I'm obsessed. I love
They're
that.
why am I acting like Danny's my best friend and I haven't met her boyfriend yet.
We've been keeping them from each other kind of thing. It is so funny.
Hilarious.
I love it.
But we will report back
Yes.
next week on the double date.
Okay.
I just
Yeah.
can't even imagine. Okay, so I met Danny's boy
We were just making
very
out in his
briefly.
car. And Aubrey walked
I walked
by.
up. I said, "Hi, it's nice to meet you." And then it was really cute. He couldn't tell if he should shake my hand or not. And I was standing outside the car. He was sitting in the driver's seat. I was like, "No, we're not gonna shake hands."
I was laughing because I loved how you later described it to Kelly that
Yeah.
you were not trying to scare him with enthusiasm, and it just cracked me up because that's the correct way to approach him. I feel like anyone else would have been "Oh, Aubrey seemed a little cold." It
Right.
was just great.
That was a great interaction.
Yeah.
No, getting out of the car, I'm "Oh my God, it's finally this. I get to
My
meet him.
time is now.
I've literally seen one photo of him.
I know. There's
And-
no evidence he exists.
We love that.
I'm obsessed.
Yeah. But I was act cool. And then I walk up to the car. I go, "Hi, it's nice to meet you."
As you should.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah. So basically, it's going
They're
really
best
well
friends.
so far. Yeah.
So basically,
We're gonna hang out.
Yeah. We'll let you know how that goes.
I love it.
Do you have any updates for us?
Well, I went to Pittsburgh.
Yes.
To meet my partner's parents. I got to meet grandma too. On accident, kind of. Wasn't supposed to meet grandma, and then grandma caught that we were in town, so
yeah,
we had to see grandma. It was really good. Like,
I love that.
not really anything bad to say. Like, we had such a good trip.
Mm-hmm.
I famously, our Airbnb was really weird. But, you know, that's for a different podcast.
Yeah.
Maybe. But yeah, I feel really good. I like, we literally were like driving out of the city, like to come home. And I was like, we broke the curse.
Literally.
The past 2 people I've dated, I've met their families in July. And then like we've broken up immediately after that.
Yeah.
So I was very nervous going in.
Understandably.
It was like, this is like a major trigger.
Yeah,
Like,
literally. Like, we've done this before.
yeah, like last year when I did it, I was like, I have a really bad feeling, but I was like, okay, no, it's like just old shit being brought back up. And then I was like, then whatever.
Yeah.
Similar shit, not similar shit, but similar outcome happened.
Right.
But I was like, yes. I was like, we broke the curse. And they were like, yeah. And I was like, and we're not going to break up. They're like, yeah.
It's so cute.
So that was exciting.
Yeah, literally.
But yeah, good stuff. Other than that,
I love it.
Danny and I saw my partner DJ last night.
Oh my God, it was so
we
fun.
had the best time.
We literally had the best time. And we met one of you.
Yes.
Which was very special.
It was.
So thank you for saying hi.
Right. It's time for our advice segment. Every week we have one of you write into us asking for, you know, a little help with the stars. And this is this week's submission. It says, I'm a Taurus Sun, Cap Moon, Aries Rising, Gemini Venus, Taurus Mercury, Aries Mars. I've been with my partner for almost 10 years, who is an Aries Sun, Pisces Moon, Libra Rising, Taurus Venus, Aries Mercury, Cancer Mars. When people first see our sun signs, they always think we wouldn't work, but we've had such a powerful, strong bond that it has me curious what works in our charts and brings us together. His chart doesn't quite reflect what you'd assume an Aries to be. We'll go back and review because that was a lot to remember. So I guess let's just like start with the suns for fun.
Yeah.
We have the listener is a Taurus sun and their partner is an Aries sun.
Mm-hmm.
That's 2 like very strong-willed people.
Totally.
I would say for sure. So I definitely see why people are like, you wouldn't get along. I guess the Taurus sun is also an Aries rising though. You definitely like understand how like an Aries is gonna be.
Yeah, exactly. Like you have more earth energy, but like you have those Aries placements yourself. So I think you definitely aren't like maybe like afraid or like thrown off by that.
Yeah, you understand like the impulsivity.
Yeah,
and
exactly. And just like the it was like the energy and like passion.
Right.
Like you get that.
Yeah.
Because like, I mean, typically Taurus are a lot more like on the other end of the spectrum. Like we're vibing, we're chilling. Whereas Aries is like, we're running, we're going.
Totally.
But you have those placements as well. So I'm sure that kind of helps balance you or like kind of put you in the middle a little more.
Then the Taurus on Aries rising has a Capricorn moon. And the other is a Pisces moon.
That one is...
That's interesting.
Yeah, that's more shocking than anything else, I think, to me.
Like, upon, like, just a Cap moon, Pisces moon, like, I would expect the Capricorn moon to, like, bully the Pisces moon. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
obviously, we can,
totally.
like, grow and be self-aware and, like, I don't know, something my partner says all the time is you have to, like, choose love.
Yeah.
And like go into partnerships like, you know, not bullying the other person.
Totally.
Like, so I'm sure you've like worked I mean, just even to just be with someone for almost 10 years, you have to like,
you've clearly done a ton of work.
yeah, because that is like extremely difficult, like to just like
Yeah.
let someone see you
Totally.
for that long.
I feel like having like that Aries placement with a Pisces moon, like you can stand up for yourself to that Cap moon.
Yeah,
though.
that's true.
Like you absolutely don't. You do have a Libra rising, which is again on the softer side, but you have that Aries fire energy. So like the Cap could say whatever, but like your Aries is probably gonna fight back more than your Pisces is.
Yeah.
But I feel like that Aries is probably gonna like take over in those moments.
Yeah, that's interesting that your partner feels like very like well balanced. Having a Libra rising, of course, is gonna be like
Yeah, I mean major balance
the
energy
balancer.
scale.
But then like having like Aries and Pisces, like
Yeah, no, you've got start to finish.
right. No, yeah,
Just round the
exactly.
clock.
Oh, that is so interesting. I guess it's
It's literally ba ba ba.
yeah.
Yeah. That was not super clear, but what I meant is like first, middle, last would be a better way to say that. You've got 1, 7, and 12.
Yeah, interesting.
Oh wow, yeah, that is a nice big 3.
It really is.
Yeah.
So the Taurus Sun like listener has a Gemini Venus, Aries Mars. Okay, yeah. And then their partner has a Taurus Venus, Cancer Mars. Yeah, that's so interesting. I guess this goes to say, we've said this before, but like you can like think of like who your ideal match would be, or
Yeah.
like, you know, like you have always been like, I need to be with an earth sign to like really ground me.
Yeah.
And then like
Yeah, straight
you
fire.
meet someone and it's like nothing that you would think that you need. Like you just never know what's
I
gonna
know.
happen.
And I think it also just like says a lot about like if you like someone, you grow to like things about them.
Mm-hmm.
Or you, not that saying like, I'm like, that sounded like arranged marriage.
Stop.
Like,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
But a little bit,
Kinda.
yeah.
Like if you're with someone, you just like, you can choose to like things about them.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of, or like maybe you just like something because it's different than yourself, which is also something nice, you know, like you can recognize, like you probably recognize in each other what like you don't possess on your own. And then like it only makes you more like well-rounded, or like can learn from the other person. Like, yeah.
Yeah, I think it is like totally a relationship vibe too, to just be like completely different from each
Yeah.
other.
No, absolutely. Yeah, no, I feel like that's what a lot about what we're literally going to get into later this episode. But there is like a lot of power in being very different from someone, because I almost feel like you have room to like not clash.
Yeah, because it's just like we're like from different planets.
Yeah, literally.
Like
And then it's just like, well, good for you. You're doing that. I'm doing this. And we just love each other.
yeah, definitely don't like let people like, I don't know, like say shit about your relationship, or
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
I don't know. Clearly something's working for you without looking at your charts.
Yeah,
and
totally.
just trust that. And if like maybe there's like an area of your relationship that you feel needs work, then like
Right.
read
Maybe
about your
dig into that a
own.
little more, like that area of your
Yeah,
chart.
if you're having like some communication issues recently, learn about your own Mercury and what you need in that. And then if you think it would be helpful, learn about their Mercury
Right.
and how like where it's like not aligning.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then you can move forward with that information and see how each of you can kind of like compromise
Mm-hmm.
to make it work for the other person's sign.
Yeah, for sure.
But we're very happy for you.
Yeah, we love it.
An inspiration to
Truly.
us all. Hey sluts, just wanted to let you know for the rest of the episode, we're going to be talking about toxic relationships, abuse in general, and there is mention of suicide. So if that's not your vibe, I would dip out here and we'll see you next week. Love you. It's time for our astro education segment. This week, we're going to talk about twin flames.
I feel like before we even get into it, we should do a disclaimer, because I feel like there's just so much terrible twin flame information on the internet.
I really had to sift through so much of it.
And like, yeah, especially on social. Like, basically, I would just like this is not an excuse to be in a toxic relationship.
Not at all.
I just feel like that is such a common, like, oh my God, he's my twin flame. And it's like, no, he just literally like shoved you down a flight of stairs. Like, you're not learning anything karmically, spiritually from that. Like, he's just a terrible person. And I feel like that is like the reputation twin flames get. And that's not what we're talking about.
Yeah. So I don't know. The whole concept of a twin flame is like, it seems no one's quite like agreeing,
Yeah, no, absolutely.
which I'm like, okay, so is it just like fake?
I mean, there's definitely like, I feel like I've read books. I can't remember what books this was in. Okay. I've read multiple books where it's brought up and it's always something different,
Yeah.
which is fine. Things can mean a lot of things to different people, but I think we're going to kind of talk about like what we've learned, what resonates with us, and then you can kind of do the same, like take what resonates with you about it. One of the ways I've seen twin flames talked about the most, I would say, is like kind of like two halves of the soul.
Right.
So that's like from Plato. That's like there's like humans have two faces, four arms, four legs, and then you get split. That's like kind of where this like twin flame in like a lot of kind of theories or spiritual realms comes from. So it's like a lot of times like a super magnetic connection is like how you would know you met your twin flame.
Yeah, it's like love at first sight. It's like feeling like you've known someone before, or like like you know them
Absolutely.
really well as soon as you meet them.
Said to me the other day, he was like, just like telling you I love you doesn't even like adequately describe the way I feel about you at all. Like words could never amount to that. That's like so twin flame energy.
Yeah.
Like just so like, oh my God, like gives me like very Courtney and Travis.
Yes.
That like so over the top, probably like MGK and Megan Fox, but that's where I would say like that is like, I don't know, I've seen a lot of recent TikToks about them that I would say definitely veers into abuse, but then would be like we're twin flames. That's like that kind of energy for me, but that's, you know, my own opinion. But I think the thing that's like super important to remember about this is like these are very rare. This is like a very rare soul connection that not everyone even has.
Yeah.
Or like you might have it like one time in your many, many lives. And that's why like every cute person you meet is not your twin flame.
Right. So the term twin flame wasn't coined until like the 80s or something, but there's like in like so many like religions and spiritual practices, there are like similar concepts of like there is this one soul out there that you're like, it's always the same person, like it's always the same soul, like every time you're like reincarnated. A lot of the like origin story things that I was seeing are like, if you don't find them, you're doomed. Was like the vibe of like,
interesting,
in like, you know, the ancient texts.
Totally.
Was like, you're always born in different places, and if there are different like levels of like, if you don't find them, you're like, either your soul is like doomed to like be born again, or it's, some of them are like, try again next time.
Totally. That's interesting too though, because I think there's like also like where people have differing views on this is like soulmate versus twin flame.
Yeah.
Like some people, like your soulmate is not your twin flame. Some people, a twin flame is a kind of soulmate.
Yeah.
Sometimes it could be like interchangeable.
Yeah.
Like for me, I always thought they were very different. That's like my personal view. Like that's not the same thing. Whereas like I'm sure in some like theories or school of thoughts, it's like one and the same, or like a kind of soulmate.
Yeah. I guess what I gathered is like, you have many soulmates. Obviously everyone believes, you know, different things.
Yeah.
But what I gathered, I guess what resonated for me is you have many soulmates, and like one of them is your twin flame.
Yeah, that's so interesting, because I truly believe you have one soulmate you have in every life. They're the same in all your lives. And then what I've read before, and I'm like mad I can't remember what book this was in, but what I've read before, which resonated with me a lot, was like, this is like a little different but similar, is like you have a twin flame in each of your lives.
Okay.
And like your twin flame isn't always who you end up with. They're just there to teach you something.
Yeah.
So like your soulmate you'll always find. Your twin flame you might find or you might not, but it doesn't mean you'll like have a happy, healthy, lovely relationship. They're just there to like teach you something karmically and like cosmically.
Right.
Which is like a different kind of school of thought on that as well.
I guess with like soulmates, I feel more like you can have like friendship soulmates.
Totally.
And, like,
Yeah, soulmates are like, people say like you're cut from the same, like cut from a different cloth.
yeah.
Where
Twin
flames
is
it's
the
one
same.
soul split.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be like a very challenging connection. It's going to be like a mirror soul. So basically like both of you are just like having to face maybe things you don't like about yourself, or like, you know, just really like you see each other so deeply that you're forced to like address things. And obviously like that can come up like a lot of like insecurities and like it's just like supposed to be a very challenging thing. I've seen a lot of like discourse, I guess, on like whether you're supposed to end up with your twin flame. There's like a lot of like your twin flame, you like have to separate at some point, and then you might like get back together, which is where I think people read like one article on the internet saying like, oh yeah, like you're supposed to like break up and get back together with your twin flame, which like that's what lands people in like the toxic like on and off again relationships.
Yeah, I think it could definitely be like if you can like heal and learn and grow with your twin flame, you like end up with them, or you can. But like I think some people like in that lifetime, like you just can't, and that's when you have to like remove yourself.
Yeah, I think it's really dependent on like how much inner work you have previously done.
Yeah. And
how much you're willing to do.
Yeah.
While you're in that relationship as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I also saw something somewhere that I really liked. It was like twin flames are fire and soulmates are water. So they just like, they both are valid, but they both serve different purposes.
Yeah.
Your twin flame is like, it's excitement, it's passion, it's power, it's
growth,
struggle, it's fire, it's energy. And your soulmate is like your calm, your landing, your like emotional safety, like it's water. So it's not like they're like like it's like they can both exist and they're both valid, but it's also like they both serve completely different purposes and they have like different meaning.
Yeah.
Which I like too, because I just think like this is just something we talk about so often with like friendships, relationships, everything, but like it doesn't, you don't have to like date one person and they're your soulmate and you have to date them for the rest of your life. Like you can date someone and it could be really amazing. You can learn so much and it's so special and they serve that purpose, and then you can be with someone else.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's like a nice way to look at it. Like your twin flame can just be like something like you needed to happen, but then like you meet your soulmate, or like maybe, you know, you end up with your twin flame, but it doesn't make like any other relationship less important or less like important to your growth.
Yeah. The whole entire like concept of twin flames is like, it really is giving monogamy, like a lot of the like discourse around it. So just observing that as well, like a lot of like, am I supposed to end up with my twin flame? Like maybe, like if it's like a good relationship for you, then sure, that's allowed. And if it's terrible, get out of it. I guess we should discuss, like in my head, like twin flame is like an astrology thing, but turns out there is nothing in your charts that can tell you if you're twin flames or not. It's more of like,
it's like a deep soul connection,
just like a gut feeling, I guess. Like I couldn't find any way to like find out, to like, you know, confirm or deny if someone like is your twin flame.
I mean, there's definitely like placements and things you can look at.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's no like way to confirm or deny.
Yeah.
It's just something you know.
Maybe someone can. Someone has a spell.
Yeah.
But within our knowledge, it's just like you can just look at your synastry.
Yeah. I mean, I think you can look at like aspects as a big one here when I was researching. So some important aspects that might come up in like if you're trying to look at your partner's chart would be like conjunction. So if your signs or if you have placements in the same sign or like in the same house, like very close to one another. So essentially if you like put your birth charts on top of another and they're like in the same area. So for example, if you both have like an Aries moon or a trine. So trines are another like happy placement because they're in the same element. So if you have like a Taurus Venus and a Virgo Venus, if you're looking at your charts, you would see they were 120 degrees away from each other. So that would be another like happy aspect you could look at.
Yeah, I think looking at your chirons as well.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a good specific thing where you're like, it's the wounded healer. If you've seen all of our past episodes.
Yeah.
And like twin flames are very like healing your core wound
Absolutely.
vibes.
Juno, if you watched our asteroids or listened to our asteroids episode, that would probably be another good one.
Yeah.
That's one where like I feel like for a lot of these you could look at almost like what pertains to your relationship and then kind of see where those placements, like obviously you could just look at each other's like complete and total charts, but if you're like, oh, I feel like we really like have a lot of opportunity to grow, like look at your north nodes, or like I feel like I have like a lot of trust issues, maybe that's when you get into like the asteroids in Juno. So I think you could almost do this like take the little pieces you want. You could totally do like a full synastry or full composite chart or whatever, but for like these aspects, just because like twin flames so about like learning,
Right.
like I would say like what are like the core like issues maybe that you're dealing with, and then like how can you find those in your chart.
Yeah, I do. Just like, I don't know, overall I feel like it's just looking at synastry in ways that we've like talked about it in the past, and like I think here's what we land on always is like astrology is just a fun way that we get to learn about ourselves. And if calling someone your twin flame like feels special and like exciting for you, or like gives you peace about like a past relationship that was very like full of turmoil in your life, but like you grew a lot from it, and it gives you like peace of mind to be like, you know what, they were my twin flame, like we're not supposed to be together, they were just like an important part of my life. We're all for that.
Yeah. I just think like twin flames have a lot of the same energy that we talk about with like opposing signs. Like it's like you're like one in the same but so different. Like I was reading and it was talking, like I saw that like people with like completely different childhoods are often twin flames because you grew up completely different, so you can like heal childhood wounds within each other. So like very, very like different, but I also like a lot of times like placements. Well, this maybe is interesting to then think about the advice segment we just did, like people's placements that like don't typically go together would be another like interest, like another almost like you could look at like twin flames in your birth chart that way, because you're like just like teaching and you're like learning from each other because you are different. So it is very much like that kind of like we talk about it a lot with like opposing signs, is like you're so different, you're like then the same.
That's hilarious because I feel like we read all completely opposite information about twin flames.
Yeah, I know. I have like I know every time you talk I'm like I have something.
Yeah.
Like, no.
Because what I was looking at everything was like you're probably the same sign as your twin flame.
That's so interesting.
And that you probably like if someone's like telling you about something that happened in their childhood, you might like you probably have like the same childhood like experiences and like same like whatever abandonment issues, or like like have like you have like really similar childhoods, and like you are like just have so much in common with this person. It might be like too much, I think, like depending on
Yeah, that's
what
so
you need to work
interesting.
through. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like the light to your dark.
Yeah.
So they're very different.
Yeah. I don't know. I would say I couldn't find any astrologers that I trust to even refer to a twin flame.
Mm-hmm.
So do with that information what you will.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a more like spiritual karmic journey.
Yeah. I mean, because I guess I think it really is more about past lives
Yeah.
than astrology.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is what we've landed on. But interesting that I feel like it more so than like any other like spiritual like term.
Yeah.
It like really has such a strong like association with astrology.
Yeah, definitely. Do you think you've met your twin flame?
I don't know. Like, I guess it depends on like the definition.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, but then it like was it my twin flame or was it just toxic?
Right.
You know,
No,
like
absolutely.
a little part of me is like, was my Libra that ghosted me at family vacation? Like, is that a twin flame? No. He was just an asshole.
Yeah.
And us screaming at each other doesn't mean.
Yeah, it doesn't mean it's like a karmic, cosmic moment.
Yeah, I don't know, but I don't know. No, I was going to say I learned so much from that. No, I didn't.
No.
I don't know. And then my like current relationship feels more like soulmatey than twin flame.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like we have literally so much in common and like
Yeah.
just like I don't know, like the stuff where it's like you feel like you've always known them for as soon as you met and like you have like similar childhoods and like we're the same sun sign, like stuff like that I'm like, okay, maybe.
Yeah.
And then like it doesn't feel like enough, like I think we have such a deep like connection, but it doesn't feel like turmoil. But I don't know, but have we just both done enough work?
Yeah. I mean, it's also the relationship is young.
The relationship is very young. That's true. I don't know. I'm going to go with no.
Yeah.
Because it didn't like, I don't know. I'm skeptical of the twin flame vibe.
No, I for sure am too. I honestly was like anti twin flame until I started reading this, and then I'm like reading more about it, and like I think the thing that's fine with me is like you don't have to end up with them.
Yeah.
And also that not everyone
has
experiences
one.
it.
Yeah. I know. I just would like to know, like, I'm like, has my soul split though?
Yeah.
I don't know. Have you met yours?
I don't know. I would say the closest I feel like yes is like the relationship I'm in right now. Otherwise, absolutely no. Like, I mean, I've been in toxic, and I've learned a lot, but like they weren't my twin flame.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I had just like a weird thing earlier because obviously bitches love a quiz. So I'm like, twin flame quiz. And I found like a numerology website like on twin flames, and it's interesting. It's just like your birthday. So like you add up, like mine's like 12/19/97. So it's like 1 + 2 + 1 + 9, blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
Add up their birthday, add those numbers together, like until you get to like a single digit number essentially. And ours was 3. And then 3 was just like, this is like a happy, enthusiastic, like playful relationship, childlike, like whatever, good vibes, like blah blah blah. And then I was just like, oh, that's cute. Like I was just like, that's nice, blah blah, like totally our vibe. And then like I was like cleaning my dishes and I was like, are we twin flames? And I looked at the microwave and it was 333.
Okay.
Isn't that weird?
So maybe.
I know, except it's not like turmoil, but I don't know. It's only been like a month.
Right.
So who knows? But I would say like the like obsession I have with him is like unlike anything I've had before.
Totally.
Like I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed.
We love it.
And like we're so different, but so the same. Like we're so different, but we have like the same birth chart.
Yeah.
That's very interesting to me.
Mm-hmm.
It's very giving like half and half vibes. But I mean, it's also been like completely like peaceful I mean, I don't really like argue.
Yeah.
Or like, I don't think he brings out in me anything that I like don't want to see.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
it's like, is that just because it's just been good vibes so far?
Right.
I don't know.
Who's to say?
Who's to say? I mean, I think I've already learned a lot, but is it like twin flame learning? I don't know.
We'll keep y'all updated
Yeah.
in future seasons. Let us know if you've met your twin flame.
Yeah.
What do we all think? Silly and fun stuff.
Yeah.
It's time for skinny dipping on the same, we love a theme. Since we talked about twin flames, we thought we would talk about toxic relationships for skinny dipping.
Yeah.
Once again, we're not experts. We're just chatting about our experiences and observations.
So I think we can like start out by talking a little bit about how to recognize signs of being in a toxic relationship. And like, I know the toxic word gets just like thrown around all the time.
Yeah.
Which it's fine, whatever, I do it too. But like, I also like to point out that just because like someone ghosted you,
They're
or
toxic.
like, no, they're not. You know what I mean? Like, we're talking about like bad patterns. And that's not to say you can't break up with someone or not be in a relationship just because it's not toxic. You can do whatever the fuck you want. But if you're stuck in like these really bad cycles, sometimes it's really hard to even realize that it's happening to you.
Totally.
So maybe if you hear some things in this, it'll like resonate, or maybe resonate with like a friend or someone who's like seems to be going through those same things.
Yeah.
So one thing that I think was like super helpful for me to realize the situation I was in was like the same bitch that I talk about every week's Instagram. She posted a video on the cycle of abuse and like a study they did with rats. And I like obviously I'm not like a therapist or whatever, so I don't like have it completely memorized, but essentially it's like things are fine. Big fight. Things get better, they get really bad. You know what I mean? And it just circles and circles and circles. And I think that's like a lot of times when you're like in that, you like when it starts out, it's like a very long period of time. So like you get in a really bad fight, they yell at you, whatever happens, and then it's like the kind of like obviously things are bad for a while, and then it's like the honeymoon phase that they get you flowers, they apologize, they start being really doting, they plan dates, they whatever, try to make it up to you, and then it repeats. But like at the beginning it might be like months at a time, so you're like you don't realize like how bad it is.
Yeah.
But like that cycle, like it just doesn't end,
Right.
and it'll keep getting shorter and shorter and shorter until like you're literally just like on and off on the daily. But like what they did with like the rats is like they gave them like a treat and then like wouldn't feed them. But they would, the second they would go like running to get their little compensation, and then they would be fine. And then they got like starved or whatever essentially, and that's like what you're getting, like starved for affection in those relationships or whatever.
So it feels
like
so
tactic.
good when you get it.
Exactly. And then every time it happens you just want it again.
Yeah.
You get your little treat. You know that it's not so bad because they're going to make it up to you.
Yeah.
And I think like I feel like I personally had so many friends, and I mean I used to do this too, but I feel like I've had so many friends even that are like, well, when it's good, it's good.
Right.
Well, yeah, but when it's bad, it's bad.
Right. Yeah. And I guess maybe something is like there is no like commitment to like actually making anything better.
Yeah, for sure.
There's no like growth from the conflict.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean like things to like look for in that too. It's like this is actually a really easy, good example. My ex-boyfriend, he would like, since we started dating, he'd be like, I'm going to start working out and eating healthier.
Yeah.
That was not something I required. It was just something he would say. And he never, the entire time we dated, he never started working out and eating healthier. But he would do the same thing in our relationship. He would say, I'm going to go to therapy.
Yeah.
I'm going to do this. And he never did. Well, why would he? He doesn't keep there's no push to do work on himself. Why would he push to do work on the relationship? But if someone throws in your face, we could go to couples therapy. We could try this. I'm going to be better. But they don't. All they're going to do is like, you know, buy you flowers, buy you dinner until it's like the same thing.
Yeah.
But I would like really recommend like looking into like, I think you literally can Google like cycle of abuse. It's like a little graph that like says it more clearly than I am. And you could look up, I'm sure like easily find like those studies on it. But like that is such like I will be the one to say this because I've said this to so many people, like it doesn't change.
Yeah.
Like you're not gonna get out of it. It's only gonna get shorter and it's only gonna get worse. And yeah, they're not gonna change.
Yeah, I think something else like similar off of that to look for is like either relying or like blaming like mental health on the other person.
Yeah, for sure.
And like this is like, and not to say that like every boy that's like, I'm depressed, I need you, is toxic. We're talking about like
more
like
calling you from
that
their mom's phone, threatening to like take their life in the middle of the night. Like, okay.
Yeah.
That's so scary the first time, like as a 19-year-old or whatever that happens to you, but that is incredibly manipulative and not okay.
No, yeah.
Yeah, like that, exactly, that kind of like behavior.
Yeah,
like,
I had a very similar call.
Yeah, I know. Like that's incredibly not okay.
No, yeah. Any threat.
Yeah.
Of like, if you don't do this, I'm going to do this to myself or whatever. Like, any harm, like anything, here we go.
Yeah.
Intentional harm.
Yeah.
To the other person.
Right.
Is not okay. Of course, you're going to hurt your partner's feelings on accident.
Yeah.
Of course, you're going to disappoint your partner. You're not going to be able to make it to their event or something.
Right.
It's not going to be like you're never going to upset your partner. But if your partner is going out of their way to make you feel bad or guilty or scared.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
It's not okay.
No. Threats, not okay. Especially something I've been thinking about a lot too is like, look at how people threaten you in relationships, or like the way they choose to do things. Like, for example, I've been thinking about this a lot in more recent years, but I was in a really bad relationship, whatever. And I was like, had no way to like get a restraining order or have any physical evidence because nothing was ever written down.
Yeah.
Like that shit is intentional.
Yeah.
Like everything was over the phone. Everything was in person. Everything was like, nothing was like logged. And like, obviously
there's no like screenshots to send to your friends.
Right. Like that kind of stuff, like those people know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And like I'm always the person that's like, everyone is doing their best and everyone whatever, but like there's a point where you have to like stop and save yourself.
Yeah.
And like even looking at like the way people communicate with you and like the methods they choose to communicate with you. You should be able to like track everything. Right. Obviously like have phone calls, but like if you have like a scary phone call, like
record it.
Yeah. Like write that shit down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think sort of on like a similar line to this is like codependency. Like I think codependency can definitely like
spiral out of control.
Be like there's kind of like there is an overlap with like toxicity. And something, shout out my partner's therapist.
Yeah.
Because like we had like this like blip where we were like, oh my God, are we codependent? Like,
right.
like spiraled for a few days. It's okay now. But their therapist said like codependency is when the two of you rely on each other to like emotionally regulate the other person.
Yeah.
if your partner's upset and you're like, oh my God, like I can't, what can I do? What can I do? Like I have to fix this like right here, right. No, like your partner is an adult and they can figure out if they're sad. Your partner can get themselves to not be sad. Of course, do nice things for your partner, but it is not your job to create happiness
Exactly.
in your partner.
Yeah. And like, if it becomes that way, or if you're like, oh no, that's my entire relationship is like propping up my person, like that's not great. I know I have to remind that to myself literally all the time. I'm more of like I have a lot of anxiety around like people I care about safety. Like obviously I'm sure like everyone in the world does right now, everyone in America at least, but like I always just have to tell myself, I'm like, he's lived 25 years without me.
Right.
He's gotten
made it this far.
Home and to work 25 years without me.
I'm dead.
You know, like he has gotten himself to school. He's gotten himself to work. He knows how to drive. Like I just always like, and I think that's like different but similar to the emotional thing is like you could look at it that way too. Like they have self-regulated themselves or, you know, relied on their friends, relied on, this is another, actually, now that I'm saying that, you are, something my therapist said to me recently is like, you are no one's only resource.
Totally.
And like, if you are, that's another issue.
Yes.
Like, you are not the only person people can turn to. And I think this is like a good one to remember in friendships too. Like, you can't, like, obviously, like, we are best friends, but like, we both have other resources.
Yeah.
And so does everyone.
Yeah.
Like, even if you feel like you only have like one friend you can really go to, there are texts, there are numbers, there are internet groups, there are group chats, there's a Facebook group, there's a Reddit.
You have a therapist, hopefully. Yeah.
Like, there's so many, like, you should always have so many people in your network, whether it's like friends or not, relationships or not. Like, you, like, your partner is like, should never be like solely reliant on you.
Yeah.
For emotional safety, physical safety, like anything.
Yeah. So I guess next we need to cover like, okay, we've identified a toxic relationship. How are we getting out of it?
So you have to, and I am the mean friend and whatever, I stand by, and it's the only way to get out of it. You have to block them and never speak to them again. Like, no questions asked. Yeah. There is no room. Like, they're not going to get better. They're not going to change.
There's no, like, closure you're going to get.
There's no closure. Yeah. There's no, you don't need closure. Closure is not real. Closure is fake. You don't need closure. You create everything for yourself. You block their number. You block them on Instagram. You block their email. You block their mom. You block them on Facebook. You block them on Twitter, Snapchat, TikTok. And you don't unblock them. Yeah. It's like truly like, I don't know if this is scientific, but I know this is true. It's like an addiction. Like being like the rush in like serotonin or endorphins or dopamine or whatever. One of those happy chemicals that you get from like the makeup phase of that toxic cycle is so addicting. You think that nothing else matters. Yeah. And like the only way you can like not continue to like spiral into that is by cutting them off, because every time you give your like you unblock them, you text them back, you engage in an argument, you get a little like rush from like fighting or whatever, you are like just feeding your little toxic addicted relationship brain, and then they get happy. And then it's only going to, like, prolong the weaning process longer. Yeah. So, yeah. You can obviously tell them you're breaking up with them. But then, like, after that, like...
A block out of the blue.
Yeah. That's also fair, though. You can also just block anyone you want anytime ever.
You can do whatever you want, famously.
Exactly.
Yeah. You will have to be very brave.
Yeah.
And, I don't know. I'm like, I could hardly speak on this because I was the one forced out of my toxic relationship.
Yeah.
When I was famously ghosted. But Yeah, I will say, just like me personally, I like really needed a therapist at that time, and I was so set on like this person did not break me.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, no, like this guy is such a loser, and like this, like, you know, I was a disaster. I literally slept on a bed without a sheet on it for 6 months after I got out of this relationship.
Yeah.
Like, we were not okay. Like,
Yeah.
I really
Yeah.
was very unwell. But ask for help,
Yeah.
because it's gonna be like extremely getting like unaddicted. Is that a word? Like,
What is it called?
I don't know.
I want to say weaning because
Yeah, kind
like,
of.
like breastfeeding.
Kind of. Yeah, like if any addiction is gonna be difficult, but like, so like this, like think of this relationship like that, you know.
Yeah.
It's important to have resources and professionals to talk through
Yeah.
something scary like that.
Yeah. But it's so important to like know that like literally life without them is going to be 9 million times better. And like personally, I mean, I got back with my ex 12 to 15 times.
Yeah.
We broke up so many times and we kept getting back together. And so I can like only attest to like the longer you drag that shit out, the more terrible it is and the worse it gets every single time, until you're just literally screaming all the fucking time, like, for what? But like literally, I mean, honestly, probably like I was like not, I mean, honestly, okay, immediately I was like, oh, like this is what needed to happen. But I mean, I think it took me like multiple years to like somewhat heal from it.
Yeah.
And then, you know, then shit comes up or they pop back up, and then it's still always hard. Like, it's never going to not be hard. But like your life, when you have like, I always like think of like the energy you're putting into like arguing with someone, fighting for a relationship. Like, think of the shit, like all the time you spend on that, and like think of what you could be doing with that time.
Yeah.
Could be starting a podcast, could be knitting a sweater. Like, you just like have so much more like brain space,
Yeah. For other
to like
things.
do other things. And like Aubrey said, like that's like when it's so important to like pour into your friendships, pour into hobbies, like really surround yourself with like inner child work is a great thing to do, like we talked about last week. If you listened to that episode, like really, like you have to force yourself to do stuff, and only you can do that for yourself. Like none of your friends, no one can do that for you. You can ask someone's opinion like as many times as you want. You can, you know, go to therapy and not listen to your therapist. Like, you have to do that for yourself. Like, no one, like, you could take all the like steps you should be taking, but like only you can like block them. Only you can like then not reach out. Only you can like go to dinner with your friends and like find a hobby. Like, that's like all you.
Yeah.
And you have to just believe in yourself enough to like know you can do that, and you can.
I guess like a whole other aspect of this is like, okay, what if you have a friend
Yeah.
that you see in a toxic relationship? Like,
Yeah.
what do you do?
Well, I obviously tell them. And I tell them, Google cycles of abuse. I'm just like, I have a really hard time watching my friends put themselves in harm's way. Like, I'm not going to go about it lightly. Like, it's just not okay with me. And I mean, they can accept it or they're not. They have to do it for themselves.
Yeah.
And I think there's only so much help you can give someone.
Right.
But I
You
think,
can't help
like,
someone doesn't want help.
Exactly. But I think you can say, like, this is super unhealthy, or like, hey, this seems like something I've been through and like didn't end well, you know?
Right.
Like, I don't know. Lead with empathy. Like, I would
like,
never.
you
but
deserve better.
Yeah. Like,
Vibe. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess I always land on, I think it also depends on the friend.
yeah.
You know your friends well enough. Like, you know what they need to hear and like
Yeah.
what angle is going to like work better. Cause like I definitely have one friend that is very similar to me. And I'm like, we're gonna talk, like, we would just talk so much shit about her, like, now ex,
Yeah.
that, like, I'm like, and she just, like, knew I didn't like him at all, and I was like, I know that you are like me, and, like, you can't be told what to do.
Right.
Me saying break up with him is not gonna make you break up with him.
Yeah.
So it is kind of, like, difficult sometimes, like, you
No, for
can't
sure.
you can't get your friends out of it. They have to.
Yeah.
But obviously supporting and loving them.
Yeah, and I
is
think like
important.
sharing, if you've been through something similar, I mean, I don't know, there's pros and cons to this. I know people are like, when someone talks about themselves, don't talk about yourself, but like whatever. I think there's like value in
Of
like
course,
sharing that
yeah.
you like. I think that was just, I felt like that was such a huge thing on the internet recently.
Really?
Yeah, like if someone's like, I have red shoes, like maybe it was like, okay, I'm sure it's valid. Like, definitely listening is good.
Right.
Listening is good. But I
Listening
think-
to understand.
But I think if you like really truly have gone, like maybe it is like when if someone's like, oh, my family member passed away, and it's like, oh well, my fish died. It's like, okay, well, don't do that.
Yeah.
But then I think I was like, oh my god, I always do that. But I think I do it in like an actual better intentional way, and I think
Yeah.
it like kind of like freaked me out from like ever sharing.
Yeah, no.
And like, no, it's okay. Like, I feel like I've had like a lot of success with my friends when I've been like, no, I've literally gone through exactly what you're going through, because I mean, we're all humans, and humans all have like the same little brains and stuff. So like when, you know, I feel like a lot of us have like very similar, like these patterns are always the same.
Yeah.
So like a lot of us have the same reactions to them.
yeah.
So if your friend is like going through something, like I think it's okay if you have been through that to say like, no, I actually like that's exactly how I felt.
Yeah.
Or I felt I felt the same exact way, and like here's what happened to me, and then like this is what I did. Like I think there's so much value in that, and I think sometimes we like, I don't know, like feel afraid to be like put ourselves into people's situations, but I think like there's times like, especially if you're a good friend of them,
Yeah.
like there's like it's okay to be like, no, this happened to me,
Yeah.
and like I was fine and you could be fine.
Yeah, sharing to connect. I mean, it is just like so common.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like unfortunately, it feels like who hasn't been in like a disgustingly like toxic relationship.
Totally.
Like, there's just like a lot of like
Yeah.
like I don't want to call them terrible people, but like
Like
unrealized.
yeah. Unrealized. Yeah.
There's a lot of unrealized people out there. Like it's brutal out there.
Yeah.
But your safety is the most important thing.
Yeah.
Like we always say, your relationships should be a net positive.
Yes.
So obviously there's a threshold on the net negative, like maybe you should just break up. And then of course, if you go further down the line of net negative.
Yeah. Zip it, lock it, throw away the key.
Yeah, the sooner you should break up.
Yeah. I also think it's like, it could be like really scary after like doing that to like feel like you can ever be in a relationship again.
Totally.
But I think like you just like also have to remember like how much you learn from it. Like that
Yeah.
is like, obviously it's like literally terrible and no one should have to go through that. But like if you did, like you might as well take something from it.
Yeah.
And like how can you just like only like weed out the bullshit from like what you've learned.
Yeah.
So I think it is one of those things where it's like it sucks, but like it's only going to help you, or like maybe it's only going to help you like help your friends navigate their lives, or
Totally.
like help a younger person like who comes to you be like, oh, like I actually dealt with this and like here's what I learned, or
Yeah.
here's what to look out for. So I think it's like it's terrible and it sucks, but it's only going to give you things to learn from and look out for in the future.
It's ghost story time. Gather around the campfire. We have a listener submitted ghost story to share. All right. One of you wrote into us. Hello, my astrology queens. First, I have to say, I absolutely love your podcast. I feel like I'm sitting down with the girlies and talking about astrology every time I listen to you guys. So hold on to your seats because it's a doozy. So flashback to pre-pandemic, I started dating my then friend of 3 years. Virgo sun, Sagittarius moon, Scorpio rising.
Oh, fun.
To put this into perspective, I'm a Scorpio sun and rising, Sagittarius, moon, Mercury, and Venus, Virgo, Mars. Okay, so we've got a lot of the same energy going on. Needless to say, I fell. Right after this, I studied abroad and his mental health went downhill. And like most men, used me to keep him alive. Sounds familiar. I literally got him through junior year of nursing school and would walk him to his therapy so he didn't yeet himself. I promise I'm not insensitive. I just joke through the pain, babes. We know you're a Scorpio, honey.
Yeah, we get it.
We get to 2020 and he randomly breaks up with me after fucking me the night before a nursing exam prior to our anniversary and tells me he has been wanting to for a whole month after I spend $1,000 on him that month. Clown emoji. After this, he had half of our friend group gaslighting me about the breakup and that it's not fair for me to be upset because of his mental health when I was one stop away from a good old peace out, my dudes. Flash forward to October when I got diagnosed with cancer. The astrological things in my chart that coordinate with poor health and cancer is so wild, babes. Okay, we want to hear about that on a different episode, baby. And I'm like, wow, I'm not over this, but I want to move past it if the cancer would eat me alive. So I reached out to everyone and I was like, I'm sorry if I hurt you with my reactions, etc. Can we close this so I can move on? My friend, one of the gaslighters and heavy Gemini, said this to Virgo for me, who basically told me to fuck off and die. And then when I was upset about it, she was like, I mean, you're kind of crazy, and gaslit me more. Like, babe, I'm a Scorpio Sagittarius love child. I'm intense as fuck. I hope you guys can laugh at this with me. Okay. Well, I'm glad you're laughing about all of this.
Oh my God.
Because that was a doozy.
That was a doozy.
Yeah, I guess I'm like, I'm feeling gaslit too. Not by you. I'm like, well, yeah, that's weird. Why wouldn't you think that was weird if you were in like a thing of like,
yeah, and then it said like you were friends for 3 years.
yeah, friends for 3 years and then dated
oh
for
my God.
like it seems like a couple years,
yeah,
right?
and
Like a
of
long
course,
time.
like dragged them along.
Right. Like you were just like the mental health crutch,
Literally.
as the men love to do.
Oh my God.
I'm like, something that we just don't talk about enough is that like everyone who's dated a cis straight man has had to deal with just like being a therapist and like
Yeah.
I literally have tried to break up with so many men and they've said no.
Yeah.
No, I'm too depressed. No,
No.
I'm gonna kill myself. Like, that's not okay to say to someone.
No. No, it's not. And I feel like I said this earlier, but I'll say it again. You are never someone's full support system.
No.
And unless you are literally a licensed therapist, it's honestly, I don't even know if I want to say that because it's still not cool if they're not paying you for that. Like,
You're just
none
not a
of us-
professional. You can
none
provide.
of us little girlies are qualified to be doing this.
No.
Like,
Not at all.
Not effective. So I know, like the way that like so many people have just like gone through life, like literally like coaching people
Yeah.
in whatever capacity. Like, where's the certification? Where's the PhD?
Right.
Like, no.
I don't know if I feel like maybe we've talked about this in the podcast before, but it is like this just whole larger issue of like men can't talk to their friends.
Yeah.
So they get a girlfriend and finally they can talk about their feelings with someone. And then just
Yeah.
like all of this, like there's just like way too much pressure in general
Yeah.
put on the girlies.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not their job.
No, it's like that's not yours to carry at all.
Right. Yeah, super interesting that you guys are the same, like, big threes.
I mean, definitely why you probably were friends, and then definitely why you like fell hard for each other.
Yeah. You like really understand them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's just like, I don't know, crazy of everyone to be like, you don't get it. You're like, I fully get it.
No,
like,
literally. Yeah, I was there the whole time.
why wouldn't he break up with you for a full month?
Right. And then you're the bad person, but literally you're the one that got dumped.
I'm confused too.
I know. No, that's like major gaslight.
Yikes. Well, I'm really sorry. I hope your health is doing better. I would like to hear about the astrology and your cancer diagnosis. So a future episode will hit you up. But we hope you have well, you're laughing about this. I'm glad. But I also hope you've worked through this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because that's a lot.
And I hope you have better friends.
Yeah. No, the conclusion is like you just deserve way better.
Yeah.
Of just like basic like consideration.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my God.
A doozy is right. Thank you for joining us on kind of what ended up being like a heavy episode.
I know. I was like, oh my God, twin flames, fun.
Well, no.
Okay.
You're like perfect. And people, just like say they're toxic. Well, I hope we like learned some things and reflected.
Yeah.
And we promise next week will be a silly, silly time. We have a surprise in store for next week.
We're excited.
Follow us on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. Once again, leave us a review. If you've made it this far, you're clearly obsessed with us. So, take 3 more minutes and, write a sentence.
A little typey type.
We'll see you next week, sluts.
See you next week, sluts.
Bye.
Love you.
Love you.